Good evening. I'm going to call a meeting of the Daviess County Public Improvement Corporation to order. We're holding this meeting this evening to do several items of business. And the first item of business is I need a motion to approve appointing the following members to the Daviess County Public Improvement Corporation: Al Mattingly as president, Mike Koger as director, George Wathen as director, Charlie Caslin as director and secretary. Could I have a motion to that effect, please?
Motion approved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And just for the record, this meeting is being held Tuesday, August 18th, 2020. The next item of business is the approval of the May 23rd, 2017 meeting minutes. That was meeting number 180 of the DCPIC. Do I have you've all had a copy in your possession, I assume. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and second. Any comment, any question, any correction, deletion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. The next item of business is the approval to authorize the transfer of the title to the Audubon Building project at 1700 West 5th Street back to Audubon Area Community Services, Inc. upon notice that the outstanding debt has been paid. Could I have a motion, please?
Move to approve. Second.
I have a motion and second. Mr. Hendricks, do you want to explain to us what we're doing?
Yes, Judge. With Series 2007 debt issued by Audubon Area was where Daviess County Improvement Corporation and Daviess County Fiscal Court assisted Audubon Area with placing the first mortgage revenue bond to finance the building at 1700 West 5th Street. In connection with that transaction, the building was placed in the name of the Daviess County Improvement Corporation while the bonds are outstanding. It was the financing vehicle that you use, and the way the laws were then, how it had to be. Audubon has decided to refinance that debt through issuance of a new series of industrial revenue bonds, and Daviess County Fiscal Court will be the issuing authority for that, and will hold second reading and approval of the ordinance at its meeting this day. Once the outstanding bonds are paid off, Daviess County Improvement Corporation will need to convey the title of the building back to Audubon. The new series does not require the Improvement Corporation or Fiscal Court to hold that title. That concludes my summary.
Commissioners, any question or comment? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Before we do that,
Yes?
were you going to have the?
No, we're going to do this and then we'll have the public hearing. Okay?
Right.
So if there's no other comment, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. At this time, during this meeting of the Daviess County Public Improvement Corporation, we will now open a public hearing on the motion that just was made and seconded and approved. So I am going to open that hearing for any comment. Since we are being carried live on Facebook, live streaming on Facebook, I would ask Mr. Smith if you have any comments. You do? Okay. Okay, there is no comment. Since we're probably delayed a little bit, I'll give them just a little bit of time where they can come on. This is one of those things, Commissioners, that we do occasionally, and the last time we met and did anything similar to this was back in 2017, so it's just it's a formality that allows Audubon Area, in effect, to get a better interest rate. So they're just refinancing, but as the treasurer said, we do not relinquish the deed or our title or our claim until that bond is paid off. So they will take the new proceeds, pay it off, and have a much better interest rate. Mr. Smith, any Any comments? Okay, so there have been no public comments. We'll note that for the record, and with that, I will close the meeting. There is nothing else, no other business to be brought before the Daviess County Public Improvement Corporation. And with that being said, without objection, I will adjourn the meeting of the Daviess County Public Improvement Corporation. Now, Commissioners, if you would stand, and I will ask Commissioner Wathen to lead us in a prayer and the pledge.
Dear God, our Father, we ask that you intervene for all of those of us who have been affected by the pandemic. Please give those who are combating the virus the wisdom that they need to do what it takes to control and stop the spread of the virus. Please protect our military, our sheriff deputy, our police from harm's way. As always, we ask that you give the members of this court the wisdom to make decisions good for our citizens and also that will always match your will. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Commissioner, and once again, I want to welcome everyone to our Daviess County Fiscal Court meeting for August 18th, 2020. Commissioner, thank you for praying for those who have been affected by COVID today. We lost another Daviess County to COVID-19, so their family are in our thoughts and prayers. Jenny, are you ready?
Yes, sir. Item 1, consideration for approval A, minutes of the August 6th, 2020 Daviess County Fiscal Court meeting.
Motion approved.
Second?
I have a motion and second. Commissioners have all had a copy of the minutes in your possession for some time. Any questions, additions, or deletions? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
B, all claims for all departments.
Move to approve.
Second?
I have a motion and second. Again, Commissioners have all had a copy of the bills due and payable by Daviess County Fiscal Court in your possession for some time. Any questions of the treasurer? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
C, fund transfers.
Motion approved.
Second?
I have a motion and second. Mr. Hendricks.
This fund transfer, as you know, we just completed the financing transaction for the new radio system. We actually received the $5.5 million last Tuesday, and set up the required accounts to do that. One of the accounts is the debt service fund and the bond fund, and this is to move money into that fund. That checking account sitting there with zero money in it. This is a budgeted item, so I request permission to transfer $23,600, representing the first interest payment from the general fund to the bond fund for the public safety radio system.
Question or comment, Commissioners? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
D, order of allowance to the Board of Assessment Appeals.
Motion approved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Mr. Hendricks.
This bill is a total of $400. It would pay the 4 people that served on the Board of Assessment Appeals that occurred today. The county share is 50%. The state will pay the remaining 50%. I recommend approval.
Question or comment? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
E, MOA with City of Owensboro regarding shared use of existing ASTRO 25 core.
Move to approve.
Second?
I have a motion second. Mr. Johnson, are you going to do this?
Yes, Judge. The ASTRO 25 core is a piece of equipment that connects the city's digital radio system with our dispatch operations. In order for the court to pursue more cost-effective options presented in the proposals received for our P25 radio system RFP, this agreement is necessary to allow our new digital radio system to connect to dispatch through the city's core. There are several benefits regarding programming and interoperability to having a shared core, and given that we operate a joint 911 dispatch with the city, our radio engineering consultants agree that this would be the most efficient orientation. The county already pays for the maintenance of the core through the shared dispatch budget, so there were no issues in cost to address outside of what would be incremental in our upcoming project. The agreement states that the county can utilize the existing core and includes an exhibit attestation from the current service provider that states that the county's utilization will have no impact on the functionality, nor will it limit expansion of communications of the City of Owensboro. I have reviewed it. It is in order, and I would recommend approval.
Commissioners, any question or comment? Jordan, is this on the city's agenda this evening as well?
I
Or do
believe
you
it
know?
is.
Okay, all right. If there are no other questions, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
F, drainage agreement with Ballard Construction, custom homes for Woodland Ridge Development.
Move to approve. Second.
I have a motion and second. Engineer Rasher.
Yes, Judge. This is a agreement between Fiscal Court and the developer for Woodland Ridge to hopefully remedy a persistent and continuous problem they've had since that development. The developer intends to do a significant amount of ditch work to allow that subdivision to drain as the approved drainage report was submitted. I recommend approval.
Okay, commissioners, question, comment? Mark, basically what this does, it allows him to go ahead and open up the second half of that development, but as is enumerated under number 13, county and the developer acknowledge that the county lacks any legal authority to maintain that ditch, nor shall it maintain the ditch.
That is correct.
So we want to make sure going forward that people don't look to the county to maintain farm ditches. And in effect, what occurred here was the developer had presented a plan when they first opened the development and said that ditch will handle the drainage necessary. Well, it's obvious over the last, how many years is that development?
It's been 15 years.
15 years that it did not. We continued to get complaints from standing water. Turns out actually that the water is 2 feet too deep on the high end and couldn't get out on the low end. I think the developer has already done some work on
They
the
have.
far end, which has lowered the water that stands, and we believe we're going to lower a culvert under
Not road.
not road. And we think when we do that, we're going to see a really good drainage out of that system. Commissioner Wathen, I know you've gotten calls down there, as I have, and probably all the other commissioners on several occasions. This should make that system work the way it was originally designed. So with that being said, if there are no other comment,
I will just,
Yes.
I will just comment, I don't know how many calls I've gotten
Right.
down there, and there's gonna be a lot of happy people when this happens. But he won't get into, he will not complete this ditch until after this year's crop season, is that correct?
I believe that's right.
yeah, I think that's, he has to have access to some of those farmer fields and don't want to destroy and pay for
Right.
crops, so he will complete it. But I think it's going to make a huge improvement in the way that ditch drains. There are no other questions or comments. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Award the following RFP 1-2020, add P25 Trunked Radio System, and authorize the judge executive and county treasurer to execute any and all documents related to same. RFQ 10-2020, a snow plow package. Bid 30-2020, a new backhoe loader. Bid 31-2020, a new D8T waste handler dozer.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Jordan, you know the drill. Go through each one of them, pause for a little bit so we can have comment or question.
Yes, sir. Beginning with RFP 01-2020, in March of 2019, we contracted with radio engineer consultants Truck Communications to produce a needs assessment report of our current system and operations and begin the process of assessing and fielding options to upgrade our legacy VHF radio system. Per their report and feedback from first responders and other end users, the court chose to pursue a P25 Trunked digital solution and issued this RFP 01-2020 to accomplish that end. For the provision of a new P25 Trunked digital radio system and subscriber gear, we received 4 proposals from a single vendor, ranging from a total proposal price of $6,009,708 to $7,943,251. Each proposal comes with a set of layout and operational assumptions, and after consultation with our radio engineering firm, dispatch operations, first responders, and the City of Owensboro, we recommend the lowest and best evaluated second alternate proposal, four-site system with a shared core with the City of Owensboro, for the not-to-exceed price of $6,009,708 with the respective maintenance package presented. It should be noted this project will take an estimated 2 years to implement, with ongoing negotiations of site improvements, subscriber gear, and maintenance options. The not-to-exceed total price and annual maintenance presented represent equipment improvements and options that will be evaluated over the course of the implementation and may be negotiated below the presented pricing. We have received funding for the project. There are no exceptions, and I would recommend approval.
Question or comment? Yes, sir.
I have a question. I should have, I just thought of this question, or I would have asked you earlier. So we're committing to the maintenance contract as well on
Yes,
this?
that maintenance and contract includes several options that we'll negotiate up to, I would think, a year and a half into the project, but that is a worst-case scenario. That is all of the options. It is very likely we will take several pieces out of that.
But, the timeframe of this 5 years of the maintenance contract, is that correct?
Yes.
When does the 5 years start?
In the second year after the system is implemented.
So after it's complete,
Yes,
then the 5 years starts?
yes.
So I'm assuming we've got if it takes 2 years to install, we have 2 years, so we end up with like 7 years of, is that what you're saying?
Yes, after it is implemented, we will get a year of coverage from the vendor, and then after that year is done, we would enter the first year of that 5-year agreement.
Okay.
So if this starts, we start working on it in 2020, you got 2 years complete, that puts it in 2022. The 1 year of warranty that comes with it is 2023, so 2024 would be the first year of the maintenance contract.
That is correct.
Okay.
Oh, that's even better than I thought. Okay.
Yeah. Any other question or comment?
Well, these, on your description, it says 4-site. Will all of these sites go live at the same time, or will they go incrementally?
They will all go live at the same time. There will be one transition period from our VHF to digital.
Okay.
Jordan, it looks like the option that you presented us on mobile coverage, it didn't matter. We were in good shape, and I know that the sheriff and the Major Barry Smith and Jeremy Smith, the fire chief, and a lot of our volunteers had concerns regarding coverage with mobile. So it really, this takes care of one of the major concerns that the folks have. The outdoor portable coverage suffers a little bit. The indoor portable coverage suffers a little bit, but really what we're looking at is a lot of those areas that are suffering are places that we don't have homes anyway, or we don't have businesses anyway. It's farmland.
Yes, sir, mostly farmland and woods. We generated several population density maps, looked at historical CAD calls. Every agency reviewed that data and saw no issue with that slight reduction in coverage.
I guess what I'm saying, in effect, you run that by all the major county agencies that are going to actually be utilizing the system, and they all were in agreement with the option that we selected.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You're right, 18 months, Commissioners, a long time. It seems like we had meeting after meeting and about radio waves and what they do and don't do, and we're all going wondering just exactly what's going on. I want to thank Jordan and Mr. Hendricks for bringing Trot Communications to us, because this is obviously a very complicated and technical system that even some of those in our community who thought that they knew a lot about it didn't know as much as they thought they knew. So I really appreciate Trot being involved in this. Thank you, Trot, for your expertise. I want to thank the sheriff, the fire chief, the volunteers, the road department, parks department, all of those folks who came together. I guess my last question is, so we get everything completed, how do we hold Motorola accountable to deliver exactly what they said they were going to deliver?
Trot Communications will serve as our project management team. They'll be supervising everything that is installed. They'll be doing their own testing. We will have feet on the ground.
So we're guaranteed these coverages
Yes, sir.
by Motorola.
Yes.
And if they don't, they're going to have to come up with some way to grant those coverages at no additional cost to the county.
Yes.
Okay. Any other question or comment? Next item.
RFQ 10-2020. This quote is to purchase one snowplow package to include a 10-foot municipal snowplow and all kits and adapters for the Daviess County Road Department. We received 3 responsive quotes ranging from $9,964.56 to $11,575 and recommend pursuing the lowest and best evaluated quote of IMCO Incorporated in the amount of $9,964.56. This is a budgeted replacement. There were no exceptions, and I would recommend approval.
Commissioners, question or comment? Mark, is this one that is going to be used inside of subdivisions, or is this one that fits on our tandem?
I think, well, we use tandem and single axle throughout the county.
Okay.
We do utilize our single axle for subdivision.
Okay.
This is primarily I believe this is the last of our snow plow and salt beds that is
Okay.
not stainless steel.
Okay.
So this will complete our fleet changing to that stainless steel.
Okay, thanks. Any other questions? Next item, Jordan.
Bid number 30-2020. This bid is for the provision of one new mechanical front-wheel drive backhoe loader for the Daviess County Transfer Station. This item will replace a 2006 CAT 430 EIT backhoe that was offered as trade-in consideration to offset the total purchase price. We received 3 bids ranging from a net $87,656 to $138,450 and recommend the lowest and best evaluated bid submitted by Herb Equipment for the 2020 410L John Deere backhoe loader in the net amount of $87,656. This is a budgeted replacement. There were no exceptions to our specifications, and I would recommend approval.
Question or comment, commissioners? Next item, Jordan.
Bid number 31-2020. This bid was for the provision of one new DAT waste handler dozer for the West Daviess County landfill. We received a single bid having no exceptions to our specifications. We recommend award to the only bid received of Boyd Cat for the 2021 Cat DAT waste handling arrangement dozer in the amount of $803,836. You will note that Boyd Cat offered several warranty options. After reviewing historical maintenance issues for other dozers and at what point they occurred, we believe the most cost-effective option for the life of the equipment would be the 5-year 10,000-hour powertrain coverage in the amount of $37,080, which brings the total purchase price to $840,916. This is a budgeted item, and I would recommend approval.
Commissioners, question or comment?
I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I'm curious, have we used them for warranty work before, and have they been responsive or no?
Oh, with CAT, very
Yes.
responsive.
Jordan, I'm assuming you were in consult with our mechanics and the transfer, or this, I guess this will be used at the landfill with Robbie Hawker, and
Yes,
they were
sir.
in agreement as far as the warranty.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I have a
Yes, sir.
question. Are we trading in the old dozer or keeping it, or what are we doing with that?
I believe their intention is to keep it.
What's that?
Keep the old dozer.
Okay.
Any other question? Okay, Commissioners, there's 4 items that we are going to vote on in unison. All those in favor of those 4 items signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next.
H, hire Jordan Rowe as Communications Coordinator effective 8/19/2020.
Move to approve.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Commissioners, this is something we've been looking at for a while. David, do you want to talk to us a little bit about the process we went through? I also might note that We have a Jordan Johnson and a Michael Rowe working up here, and this is Jordan Rowe. See any kin to you, Jordan? Just wondered. Ask Michael if he's any kin to him. Yes, sir, go ahead.
So Judge, as you know, we have had discussions here for a while about how all of our media, Facebook, website are all diverse, and that we've got different people doing different parts of it. During the pandemic, I think it became apparent that we were severely lacking in our ability to get our message out. There were many times that we had press conferences here that we were not prepared equipment-wise. And so I think you had discussed it during the budget process. With the approval of you, we advertised. We had, I think it was about 20 to 30 applications. We interviewed 6. For the first time in my experience or our HR person's experience, we actually had to have a second round of interviews because the top 3 candidates were so good. And we finally, based on that last set of interviews, chose Jordan. His experience, he comes from, he was a reporter for WFIE TV in Evansville and WIKY radio station in Evansville. And he served as Director of Strategic Communications in Frankfurt for one of the cabinets.
I can tell you that during the non-discrimination ordinance, during the Second Amendment discussion, during the discussion on remove or keep the statute, and particularly during the pandemic, it would have been nice to have had him here to help all of us as commissioners manage the message that was coming out of here, because sometimes there would be 3 or 4 different messages going out, and particularly it would have been nice to have had him. While Clay Horton and the health department did a great job, and the hospital did a great job, one of the things that the folks that I interfaced with there since March has been they want to know what's going on, and it takes somebody that is dedicated to keeping the stream of information going to do that. So I'm pleased. I did meet the young man, and seems to be a good choice.
I think one of the things that had come apparent, one of the times Commissioner Castlin came to me about a citizen who had wanted to know why the county doesn't have a household hazardous waste day.
Yes, and we do every year.
And we do every year.
So we hope that, and we hope that we can do that, get that out, and he will be working not just for this commission, but for all of our departments to help them get those messages out, get more people to attend functions at the Parks Department, to get more people to take. We can have, I'm excited that we finally have somebody who will be able to manage that message that we've been trying to get out.
And I think, Judge, you had mentioned to the commissioner the budget itself. The goal is once he gets a routine, established for fiscal court, once he gets up to speed on all of our departments, all of our actions, we may be able to recoup some of the costs.
Well, thank you.
Through hiring him out.
Yes.
To different government-based organizations, or as you all may recall, the NEO report, one of its biggest complaints about our local arts organizations is they did not have good media presence. So he may want to look at either renting his time out to other local entities, or using House Bill 202 money to help cover the cost of these organizations getting.
I can tell you that all of the grad judges and grad themselves are interested in participating in using this communications person, because we will be the first county to have a director of communications, and they know how important it is, and they all run into the same issues. They're not experts on Facebook. They're not experts on Twitter. They're not experts, and there is great interest on utilizing him if we have any spare time. So we're not going to hurt ourselves, but if we have spare time, we may make him available for a certain number of hours a week. So any question or comment? Yes, sir.
Question, was his office be up here or down?
Yes.
It will be on the other side of Commissioner Wathen's office.
Any other question or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I
Next,
promote Jordan Johnson to Assistant County Treasurer effective 9/7/2020.
Move to approve.
I guess the motion
Second.
died. Oh, man, I was gonna call it dead because of lack of a second. You cut me off, Commissioner.
Well, I don't want to punish him any longer. than
All
that.
right. Well, now, we have a motion and a second. I might say that I would well, never mind. I'll leave that one alone.
I heard a second over here. Where'd the second come from?
I think the second came from Jordan. When does he become effective? 9/7? So he's got 3 weeks to screw this up, guys. He really does. So, Mr. Hendricks, you want to talk a little bit about this?
Certainly. Mr. Johnson is, all of you have worked with him on a regular basis, so you're very familiar with his abilities. He's certainly exhibited what's necessary as far as technical ability. But the way he approaches his job, and just to name a few projects that you've dealt with him, his bid analysis, what he did with the phone system, the purchase order system, and certainly this radio system. His participation and contributions directly create a higher quality service and substantial cost savings. He's done that time and time again. He is certainly committed to the organization. So without any question whatsoever, I recommend Mr. Johnson for promotion. There will be no backfill. This does not create a hole, so we won't be hiring anyone else. It's a promotion, which means I can dump more of my work on it.
And I might say, the way we're going to pay for any increases in salary will be taking it from the treasurer's salary and moving it over.
That's not in the budget.
Any comment, any question?
I just want to say congratulations to Jordan and thank you for the way you approach your responsibilities. I do agree with everything that Treasurer Hendricks said as far as the way you presented yourself and the things that you've accomplished since you've been with us. I appreciate it.
Well, I just want to tell everybody up here that I wasn't sure that he was ready. I really wasn't. I didn't know whether or not he had learned enough up here how to navigate this office and dealing with 4 elected officials. So I did a test, and I went into his office and I told him to write this awful, nasty letter. And then he said, Judge, now you want to sign it? I said, oh no, Jordan, I want you to sign it. And he said, no. He learned. I think Commissioner, he had to sign for Commissioner Castle, one of the letters you sent out. He learned. He learned. So I figured that he was ready for it. So Jordan, congratulations. I would tell you that you are, you are, I don't want to say a joy. That sounds awful. But it's a pleasure to work with you day in and day out, because you really go after this job the way that I would like anybody that works for the county to do it. So anyway, yes, sir?
I just want to make a brief statement. I believe, Jordan, congratulations. I believe you're ready. And I had a big old long statement I was going to make about all the wonderful things you've done, but I forgot to bring it. So I'll just leave it at that. Congratulations.
I thought, Commissioner, you were going to say, but you couldn't think of any wonderful things that he had done.
Well, that too.
Anything else?
I want to say congratulations, Jordan. Well deserved. You really work hard for the court. You save us a lot of money, and that's what you're here for.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. County engineer, don't think your next contract will be that easy. Next item, Jenny.
J, promote Carrie Boone to solid waste heavy equipment operator.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Commissioners, Carrie is an employee now. This is a promotion. Congratulations, Carrie. We're going to have to replace him, or have we already replaced him? This is not an addition. Okay.
This actually will be an additional employee
Okay.
to the solid waste department. As you all may recall, I think it was last October, I'd sent a memo that we were facing a decision to what to do about our leachate.
Yes, yeah, that's correct.
Our leachate tanker, our mechanics were very concerned about its safety, and so when we ran it, we could only run it less than half full.
Right.
The truck that we used to haul it was getting, it had come from the transfer station. It was on its last legs. We were having to use a third party to haul most of our leachate because when we put the water pumps into our gas wells to get all the water out of the gas wells, it increased the amount of leachate going into our tanks. Right. So instead of making a few trips a month, we greatly increased it. So we were faced a decision, and we had discussed it back then through a memo and through some email discussions of do we go forward by hiring someone in-house whose main job would be to haul that leachate, because believe it or not, it will take up over half of his time just hauling leachate. Then he would be available to back up on vacations and so forth the other times, or just do the regular maintenance around there as far as ground maintenance of bush hogging and so forth. It turned out, looking at buying a new tanker, hiring the employee, buying a new truck, we would still be $30,000 to $40,000 a year cheaper than hiring a third party to do it. Right. So we decided to go on and move forward. We had ordered the tanker, and the tanker is due in, I believe, in October. Our semi-truck we can keep running. It's in this year's budget to replace, so at some point we'll be going out for bid for that in the near future. And so this was the last piece, and that was to hire Kerry Boone. It is an internal promotion. It's coming from the road department. Oddly enough, he had worked at the transfer station, then he went to the road department, and now he's going to the landfill. So at some point, I suppose
Mark will
be bringing
somebody to replace him. Yeah, okay. And I remember that discussion now, because after we ran the numbers, it was very apparent that we would be better off, and on his downtime, we could use him doing other things. So, any other question or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
K, reappoint Diane McFarling, Carl Lewis, Rosemary Conder to the Drug-Free Owensboro Davis County Steering Committee for a term of September 1st, 2020 to September 1st, 2023.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Commissioners, you'll notice that these are all members of that board who have already served a term. We're just reappointing them. I want to take this opportunity to thank Diane, Carl, and Rosemary for their commitment. They're excellent board members. Any question or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
L, second reading of 10-2020, KOCB .51 2020, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of industrial building revenue bonds, Series 2020, Audubon Area Community Services, Inc. project.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion second. Mr. Hendricks?
Yes, this is, it's in the first reading when we discussed Audubon refinancing their debt. This is the second reading for that ordinance. Audubon will refinance. We talked about it in a public hearing. Davis County will serve as the issuer for the new debt, but it clearly states that the debt is not an obligation of Davis County Fiscal Court in any way, shape, or form. Any required payments that Fiscal Court is to make in the documents is limited to the revenues coming from Audubon area. So Claude and I have reviewed. We believe it's in order. For the record, I would state that there were some word changes between the first reading and the second reading. I've reviewed those changes. They are merely word changes for peripheral reasons. They do not affect the outcome, the intent of the document whatsoever. So with that, I would recommend approval.
Jim, and I should have asked you this earlier, while we have no responsibility for the debt, does this debt reflect on our ability to borrow bond counsel when they review our finances?
No, it won't reflect on your debt limit. more than likely will be included in our annual report, because the auditor and I have a difference of opinion about whether it should be or not, and I conceded that we will report it.
Imagine that. Any other question or comment? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Item 2, consideration for discussion, A, other business to be brought before the Davis County Fiscal Court. I'm not aware of any.
Next item.
B, public comments.
This is time, in normal times, when we'd have people in the courtroom, I would invite them to the podium to identify themselves. They're welcome to speak on anything other than what was on the agenda. Do you have anything, Mr. Smith? And there are no public comments on Facebook. Next item.
Comments by Davis Fiscal Court.
Commissioner Koger,
Pass.
Commissioner Wathen.
Yes, I may not remember this correctly, but it seems like that a few years back, I don't know if we did it by actually voting on it or just by discussion, but we made a decision that if we hired someone and we were going to advertise in the paper for people to put in their application, that we wouldn't vote on that anymore. And that was good, but tonight we actually have 2 jobs that we added additional staff, and I don't know if we need to do it by vote or just by recommendation, but I'd like to go back to, I would like to recommend that if we hire someone and it's not an addition to staff numbers, that we don't have to advertise it. But if it is an addition to our number of staff, I'd like to vote on it before we advertise it. Vote on it to advertise it, I should say.
Why don't you, let me make this recommendation, get together with Claude and kind of convey what you're concerned about, talk about it, and then bring something back.
Yeah.
And Claude, you can he can recommend we either make that may be just part of our hiring policy.
I think I understand what Commissioner
Okay.
Watson is talking about.
Okay.
Just to try to refine that and make sure that we can do what you're proposing.
Yep.
I just want to vote before we advertise a position that represents an increase in our number of staff.
Okay.
We
So if
don't vote on it if we advertise if it's not an addition. And we made that decision. I don't remember how we made it, but we did make that change where we stopped voting on every time we advertise.
Oh, I think that was what, if I remember, and this didn't have necessarily to do with personnel, this was any advertisement for any bids or any of those kinds of things. I don't think it was specific to personnel. But
I could be wrong.
but I
Probably
understand-
am, but
Well, I understand what you're saying, so let's just get with Claude and see, and then we can bring it back and do what we need to do, okay?
and everybody might not agree with me, but I'd like to.
Well, I understand where you're going, and my issue sometimes is, sometimes you want to go out there and see who's out there, but anyway, no, I agree with you. Why don't you get together with him and we'll look at it, okay? Commissioner Castlin.
Pass.
I think I probably had something to say. I would say that just keep washing your hands, wearing your mask, and social distancing, folks. The viral numbers are trending upward. I know that some schools are back in session, person to person. Some are going virtual. But it's real. As I said, we lost another Davis County, today our hospitalized numbers, our hospitalization numbers are trending upwards. I know a lot of folks are out there and they want to talk about the number of people that have died as a percentage of our population or whatever, but it really,
Are we going to keep doing this? Or that?
oh, yeah, thank you for bringing that up. But if it happens to be one of your relatives or your child, and really what bothers me is the trend of children who are starting to be diagnosed with this. Now, the good news is most of them are recovering, 99.9% are recovering. But if it's some relative, it becomes real critical. Commissioners, I would recommend that we go another month without having folks in our courtroom. To my knowledge, the governor and CDC are still recommending that you not have groups larger than 10, and 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Jordan, you don't count. We are right at that number right now, so I would recommend that we go through September and then reevaluate it. Thanks, Commissioner, I forgot about that. I mean, it's up to you guys. If I would recommend that, but I'm open to your suggestions. As a matter of fact, we had a request for somebody to attend today, and I turned that request down because I knew we were at max, and I think we just need to do it. So let's set the good example to the people out in our community, and we will continue to do that. You might ask why we're not wearing masks during the meeting. We are socially distanced. We're the proper distance apart, and that's pretty much it. So if there is no other business to be brought before Daviess County Fiscal Court, without exception, we're adjourned.